thanks for tuning in. So my name's Nicola and I'm the Community Engagement Officer for the Transform and the Trent Valley project. I'm employed by Support Staffordshire and I work on this partnership project. And today I'm going to be having a chat with my colleague Simon about a couple of the projects that he's delivering and how they might be able to help, maybe some tips about how we can stay safe and healthy during the lockdown. So because we're doing this as a recorded video, we are still in lockdown, and we're just going to have a chat to see what we can do during this time to stay safe and keep connected with nature. So Simon, would you like to introduce yourself and briefly talk about the projects that you're going to be delivering?
Yeah, thanks Nicola. Hi, my name's Simon. I am the Transforming Lives Officer for the Transforming the Trent Valley project. I'm employed by Derbyshire Wildlife Trust, who are a partner on the project. My two main sort of themes within the project are looking at training and education through transforming lives, and then looking at people's mental and physical well-being through connecting with nature. So majority of my stuff is involved with working with people and working outside. So at the moment it's kind of difficult, which is why we're looking at new ways of, you know, sort of encouraging people, the things that they can do whilst they're in the home.
Brilliant. So there's a theme that runs through the two of your projects, isn't there, called the 5 Ways to Wellbeing. So would you like to explain a little bit more about what that is?
Okay, so the 5 Ways to Wellbeing, or 5 Steps to Wellbeing, is a sort of a theory or a belief that you can, if you do certain things, you can improve your own physical and mental health and well-being. It's been picked up by a number of people and has been championed by a number of people, including like the NHS and Mind UK and so on. So what we've tried to do is embed parts of those 5 steps into the programs that I'm delivering. So the first one is to connect with other people. Now, obviously that's quite difficult at the moment, but there are things that you can do during lockdown, which could include just talking to people. So that obviously people outside of your home, you can't physically go and see them, but you can still talk to them. So obviously now a lot of people are using more social media platforms, more meeting apps and so on. So it is now a lot easier than it was to actually have a face-to-face contact with people. Obviously, once we are up and running again, we will be looking at creating new groups which will allow people to connect with new people, make friendships, you know, sort of like develop relationships with people that hopefully will carry on after the program is finished.
Brilliant. So was that just the first way to well-being there?
It was, yes. Sorry. So one of the other ones, or the second one, is to be physically active, and again, that is quite
a bit difficult at this time. Yeah.
If you can, you should take advantage of your allotted daily exercise. But if you do have access to a garden, then obviously get outside as much as you can. Gardening is great exercise, you know, things that you can do, just sort of, there's a lot of online videos, but it's probably important to realize that you're probably not going to come out of this fitter than you went in, unless you really want to, and you really, you know, you do sort of put a lot of effort in every day, but just making sure that you do some exercise every day, I think will be important during lockdown.
Yeah, and you can do that from your home as well, can't you? So there's things like on YouTube yoga classes. Joe Wicks is pretty popular, isn't he, if you want to do something with your kids? Yeah. So there's things you can do inside the house and outdoors as well, aren't there?
Yeah, so you know, you can make use of whatever you've got, really. If you've not got weights and fitness equipment, that sort of stuff, you can just fill an empty water bottle, or you can use tins of food, tins of beans, whatever you've got, to just, you know, add a little bit of weight. But yeah, it is important, especially as we get older. It is important to keep mobile, keep moving, just to make sure that not only do you feel a little bit better, but you know, you will keep yourself fitter. It has been proven that exercise does boost mental health. So if you can do it, do it.
Yeah. And if you can't do it, if you miss a day, doesn't matter, does
Doesn't
it?
matter. Don't beat yourself
No.
up about it. You know,
Yeah.
it's just you do what you can do. I started off religiously with my kids doing Joe Wicks, and I haven't done it for at least a week. But
Do
it
your
doesn't
kids still
matter.
do it?
No. No.
Fair enough.
No. They sort of lost interest a bit earlier than I did, I think.
Fair enough.
Um,
Yeah.
So I was going to say one of the other things that you can do is to sort of learn new skills and keep challenging yourself as much as possible. Now, again, we're seeing a lot at the moment on social media about how I'm going to do this, I'm going to learn a new language, I'm going to come out of lockdown better and more rounded than when I went in. That doesn't matter. If you just learn something new, whether that is by reading a different book. I've just started reading a couple of books on rewilding, which I've not read before, and they're really interesting. So I'm not only sort of connecting with nature through reading, but I'm also learning new things at the same time. So yeah, learn. You can, again, social media, YouTube. You can learn how to craft. You can learn how to garden. You can learn how to knit, make things, anything, as long as it's keeping your mind active and sort of just setting those little goals that you're going to learn something new. You don't have to do it every day, but if you can just sort of do something that will just keep your mind more than just ticking over, I think that's a positive thing to try and do.
Yeah, absolutely. I've started crocheting. Didn't know how to crochet before, so I've given that a go. But yeah, it doesn't matter if you miss a day. It doesn't matter if you don't learn something new every day, does it? It's just doing little bits, I think, is important, isn't it? You know, it doesn't have to be all or nothing. You can just do little bits throughout this lockdown. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it can be as little as, like I say, just sitting down and just putting time aside to read a book that you've not read before, or even just reread a book that you read years ago. You know, it doesn't have to just be today I'm going to learn German. You know, it's not, that's not possible. That's not, and if you start worrying about, oh, I've not done my German today, that's not going to help. So it's just about making sure that you're doing something to keep your mind active. You know, things like Sudoku or crossword puzzles, things like that. You know, just keep your mind active and ticking over.
Yeah.
Now, again, another one of the 5 ways to well-being is to give to others. Now, obviously, at the moment, there's a lot of sort of charitable donations. There's ways that you can donate online. You could, if you can give food parcels to food banks and so on. People are collecting for the NHS. But obviously, again, you shouldn't put pressure on yourself to feel like that's something that you need to do. Okay, this is something that there is quite a lot of pressure out there at the moment on people to donate and people to give, but giving to others could just mean that you volunteer because you're giving up your time. It doesn't have to be a physical actual exchange of goods or money for you to be giving. You know, you can give your time to your community once lockdown is finished. You can volunteer for the NHS now. You can volunteer for local councils. You can volunteer for local charities. But again, it's all about doing things that you can do and not putting undue pressure on yourself.
Yeah. And it can be even smaller than that, can't it? It could be picking up an extra pint of milk or some eggs for your neighbour when you pop shopping. That's giving something, that's doing something good for someone else. And would kind of doing activities that give back to nature come under this one as well? So creating a little wildlife patch in your garden maybe, or planting some pollinator-friendly plants?
It definitely would. Yeah. So like I say, you can wild up your garden if you like, and that will be giving something back. Once lockdown does finish and we do get back to what's a sort of semblance of normality, part of the project, one of my projects, is to create nature areas for the community. So again, if people do want to get involved once lockdown finishes and once people are comfortable to be mixing with new people, we'll be going out and working with our groups to create new community nature areas for which everybody in the community will be able to enjoy. And it won't only be the people that have sort of worked on them that can enjoy them. They'll be there for everybody.
Brilliant. That sounds great. Looking forward to seeing those start up.
Yes, yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back outside to be able to do them, to be honest.
Yeah.
So and then finally,
isn't it? Yeah. What's the fifth one?
Finally, to just be a bit mindful and pay attention to the moment. Now, again, this can just be as simple as just stopping and sort of taking stock of what you've done and what is happening around you at the moment. This the main idea for this, I think, came from maybe getting out in nature and just letting nature sort of immerse yourself in nature. So you just sit, relax, don't do anything, just allow nature to sort of come to you almost. So
yeah,
it is a bit more difficult to do at home, but you can just take time for yourself, just sit, reflect on what you've done, reflect on what you could have done and you didn't do, but again, don't let it worry you, don't let it get you down and so on. And just, think about what you might do tomorrow. If you've not done what you wanted to do, just say, okay, that doesn't matter, I can do that tomorrow. At the moment, there's no time limit on anything, it seems. So it's just a case of just reflecting and relaxing, and just it should hopefully help you to enjoy life a little bit more if you can just think about the things that you've possibly already achieved and think about how that made you feel, and then move it on from there.
Yeah, and that's really interesting, isn't it? Is that idea of noticing the little things, if it's a connection with nature in a tiny way. So for example, yesterday I just stuck my head out of the window in the evening and I listened to the rain and I listened to a blackbird that was singing, and I just stood there for a few minutes and it was really peaceful, and I didn't necessarily think about anything in particular, but just stopping for a couple of minutes and just letting the sounds and the smells, just kind of taking it all in, and that kind of set me up for the rest of the evening. Really, I felt quite nice and grounded after that. So there's little things like that you can do, aren't there? Like the sunset is there every day. You could always sit and watch the sunset, and almost that could be your kind of mindful moment for the day, couldn't it?
Yeah, and especially at the moment with traffic noise being less than it normally is, it's a perfect opportunity to just maybe open a window, sit on a balcony, go out in the garden if you're lucky enough to have one, and like you say, just sit. Whether you do that first thing in the morning or in the evening, it doesn't really matter. It's just about taking that time just to appreciate what's around you, basically. It does work. You can go out and you can just sit, and you don't have to meditate, you don't have to sort of sit with your eyes closed. You can literally just sit or stand and just absorb what's going on around you and just sort of relax through that.
Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, you don't have to hike up a mountain to find that peace and solitude, do you? You can do it in your own house, in your own home.
You can indeed.
Yeah, fab. Great. So that's 5 ways of well-being in a bit of a nutshell. And we've talked there about how you can put these examples into your daily life as well, and build these in. But you don't have to do all of those 5 things every day, do you?
No, not at all. No, just you may find that one is more easily accomplished than the others, and so you could just do 1 or 2 of them. The 5 ways have been put in there as an ideal almost, but with the time that we're living at the moment being far from ideal, you do what you can, basically. Find what works for you at the moment. Once everything does get back to normal, then you can look at maybe adding in the things that you couldn't do previously or currently. But no, otherwise it's just a case of just do what works for you, making sure that you do take time for yourself to sort of appreciate what you've got almost.
Yeah, being kind to yourself.
Yeah.
Right. So when we do get back to actually being able to come together and go outside and start delivering your projects as we want to, what kind of things do you think you'll be doing, and how are you going to be linking to those 5 ways of wellbeing, and how can people get involved if they're interested in what you're going to be doing?
Okay, so both projects do have links with the 5 ways of wellbeing. The Connecting with Nature one more so, but the Transforming Lives certainly does have a direct links in as well, because obviously through Transforming Lives project, we'll be looking at people learning new skills. We'll be looking at them connecting with other people through the working together aspect of carrying out habitat management work, sort of woodland management work, practical conservation work, basically, which you will need to work as a team to achieve. But yeah, through that, they will be physically active, they will be connecting with other people, they'll be learning new skills, and hopefully they would also be improving natural nature areas, which will then that leads into giving back to others and so on. The Connecting with Nature one is a bit of it's a more focused course, if you like. It's 9 weeks as opposed to 9 months for Transforming Lives, and it's based around the sort of forest school model of getting out and doing and learning through doing. So we would be looking to encourage people who do struggle with mental health through maybe isolation, loneliness, or lack of confidence and so on. So people can be referred to us through their sort of local prescribers or the local job centre. If you are visiting your local job centre, they might highlight the fact that you maybe just need to improve your confidence a little bit, and this could be a first step on how you can do that. The groups will be quite small, up to sort of 9 or 10 people, working within the Triple TV scheme area, but we will be looking to take people from sort of Burton, South Derbyshire, Derby City and so on, and bringing them into the area to carry out the practical work. So there will be elements of practical work in Connecting with Nature, but the focus of that is more on improving people's confidence, helping them to learn new skills by doing something new, sort of either every week or every other week. Again, it will be things like tree ID. It might be things like learning how to go out and forage for wild food, and then how to cook it safely and so on. Some sort of natural craft that you could do, things like that we can, over the 9 weeks, we'll be able to sort of build up. So at the end, you'll be able to say, oh, I've achieved all this in 9 weeks. And then if you want to, there's also then the opportunity to maybe stay on and help the next group of people come through, which again would be an important step on helping people to improve their confidence. So both projects, both programs do actually sort of fit quite nicely into the 5 ways to wellbeing, and they will primarily revolve around being outside, learning new skills, working with new people, which inevitably will end up improving your physical health, improving your mental health, hopefully, but also giving something back to the local community.
Absolutely brilliant. So it's nice and relaxed, small groups, just quite chilled out, very friendly, lots of tea and coffee, I'd imagine, and biscuits.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And just by coming along and joining in the activities, you'll be ticking off those 5 ways of wellbeing almost without realizing it, won't you?
Yeah.
And building all of these skills.
The Transforming Lives one would more be focused around people who maybe were looking to change careers, or looking to maybe they've just finished university and they're looking for a new career, or people who've been unemployed for a while and need maybe an extra boost to get back into work. So we will be it won't just be me delivering it. We will be utilising our partners such as Derbyshire Wildlife Trust, to employ me, Staffordshire Wildlife Trust, the National Forest Company, the Environment Agency. All of these people will be allowing us to work on sites alongside local landowners and so on. So we'll be able to go out, create these links, which can be really, really useful for people looking for work, especially in this industry where it can be, you do have to do some practical skills, gain practical knowledge, as well as any sort of theoretical knowledge that you might have.
Yes, it's kind of almost a start of that process if someone wanted to get into nature conservation. Yeah,
that's right.
And these are adult programs, aren't they?
Yeah, so over 18.
Yeah.
The Transforming Lives program is between 18 and 30, but I think there might be some flexibility on the top age range, dependent on sort of who wants to do it and so on. There is no sort of upper age limit on the Connected with Nature project. It is just the only caveat is you have to be over 18. Yeah.
Great. Good to know. And if people are interested and kind of want to get more information, how can they do that?
So they can visit our Transform the Trent Valley website.
Yep.
They can, if they look at that and they look at the program and they are interested, then they can email an inquiry. Obviously, I'm not there at the moment. I'm currently picking up emails, but by the time this video goes out, I might not be. So it's probably best that you use the inquiries email that is being set up, and then it can be filtered out. And then once I do come back to work, I'll be able to pick those up because they'll have been forwarded on to me. But I'm sure we can put the inquiries email and the website up at the end of this video so that people know what they're looking at.
Yeah, excellent. Great. I think that's probably everything from us for now, isn't it? It's been really nice chatting and thinking about little ways in which we can help ourselves during the lockdown, but also look forward and know what's coming up after this lockdown finishes. So we've got something to look forward to in this, and we've got tips to keep ourselves healthy right now. So great. So thanks very much, Simon. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you found it interesting. If you have any more questions, then again, send us an email. We'll be happy to chat, or have a look at our website for any more information about the scheme, the partners, and any other projects that we're doing. Right. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Nicola.